Life is meant to be lived.
And on this show, I'm gonna tell you crazy stories of my life. I'm your boy Mush King. You already know, I got a story to tell. Hey, what it is, friends? It's your boy Mush King, and you're now tuned into an all-new episode of A Story to Tell, Podmas Day 4. What up? What's good? What it is? All of that. As you know, you can only find this right here on the CWF Network. We bring you the big content in the small pieces. Good morning. Happy Monday, everybody. I am here back for Day 4 of Podmas, or what I'm like to call Podmas, where I'm releasing a podcast episode every day until Christmas. Let's see if I can do it. Because I don't know. I forgot to post yesterday's. That's my bad. But I did do it. That's the thing. I did do it. It is up now this morning. So now I'm recording. This would be day 5. I guess this would be day 4. I'm not sure. I can't keep count. But just know that there's going to be an episode every day. So I hope you went back and listened to the previous episodes that I did every day this month, well, except December 1st. So go back and listen to that. Yesterday, I did a little Reddit read where I got to read, some stories from Reddit that I thought were interesting. So if you're interested in something like that, just come back and, go listen to that. Come back and let's get into today's episode. Now, I told y'all each and every day the normal, a story to tell structure may not be what it normally is for this month, because I'm trying to do this every day, and every day I can't do that format of what I'm watching and what I'm listening to, because you're not going to hear that every day. But we'll do a little portion of everything just so I could get it out there and all that I'm doing. But today I kind of really just wanted to come and give you a little back history on like a story to tell and the network and all of that, because I feel like a lot of times I don't come and talk about how it originally started. So I thought that would be a great way to start off today's episode. Now, I've been doing a story to tell for a long time now, folks. It's been a minute. I'm trying to go back to see what was the date that I posted my very first episode, and it looked 5 years ago. And the very first episode was posted on October 19th, 2007, right? And at this, it's 6 minutes, 6 minutes and 5 seconds. So I've always been a part of the 30 minutes or less. Like, that is how I wanted to start the network. Originally, when we had started Conversation with Friends, like, we were doing like hour shows and 45-minute shows. And I remember like we got to 45 minutes, was like, this is still too long. Let's do 30 minutes. I feel like 30 minutes was our great spot. So that's originally how the network became 30 minutes or less, because I know my attention span was short. So was Ollie D's. And then also I was editing on the $115 laptop, and you couldn't really, it'd be hard. That 15 minutes of editing took me like an hour sometimes. So, now I got a MacBook and it only takes me about 5 minutes. And, if I'm doing light editing, that is. But my very first story was caught out there. And it's so funny because this story is from a New Year's Eve back when I was in high school. And I remember like going, I think it was one of the last New Year's before I graduated high school. So, you're a little bit more grown. I was about to be 18 at that point. So we had went to a house party, and, drinking was involved, Lord. And next thing you know, the cops showed up. And, at a teenage party, when the cops show up, well, I'm not sure if you went to a suburban school like I did, but yeah, when the cops show up, that means party done for the most part. And so I remember the cops coming in the house, and like several of us hid in the closet. And I remember the only reason we got caught was because there was a girl, mind you, the early cell phone days. This is early cell phone days. One of the girls left her ringer on, and it rang in the closet. So the cop like opened the door, and all like 6 of us were standing there looking stupid in this closet. So yeah, that was my very first episode of A Story to Tell. I feel like, yeah, but this was besides Conversation with Friends, like once I started the network in 2016, A Story to Tell was probably, actually no, I'm lying. Ollie's Opinion was after Conversation with Friends. That was the very first show. And then I feel like Respectfully Ratchet. If you go back on the SoundCloud streets, you could go ahead and listen to the little mixes that I put up. I used to like create like little DJ mixes. That was the show that I was doing. And then they started fucking flagging my account for copyright issues and stuff like that. That's before we knew all of that. You can't add music to podcasts. So, that was before the whole thing. But I can't believe that it's been 5 years since I started that. And that's just a story to tell. That don't even count Conversation with Friends, because I had been doing that since 2014. And then even before that, like the Mushy Files was my original podcast. And that's back from, I think I was doing episodes back in 2013. Like, I've been recording myself on, via voice for a very long time, back when we used to be able to record like little mixes on the radio with the pause and the pause and record, but play and record button. I just been around media, but Caught Out There is like my very first story. So go ahead and listen to that if you haven't. Actually, let me give you the top three. The first three stories that I did. So after, this internet is acting mad janky. So after Caught Out There, the second episode is called Candy. Now listen, me and After Hours, like, after the club, if you go to After Hours, like a lot of people who know the After Hours scene know exactly what it gives. And at the time when this story happened, I didn't really know about After Hours and like what happens there. I just knew that like everybody used to be like, oh, we're going to the After Hours. Like, and I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. So that episode is actually another one of my favorite stories. And basically how, they dimmed the lights and then everybody just broke out drugs and just started doing drugs in the place. Like, and I was just standing there like, basically the dude told me I either gotta buy some candy or I gotta get out. Like, that's why I named it Candy. So that was a great story. And I'm gonna link all of these in it so you can go back and listen to it. This one's 9 minutes and 25 seconds. Like, I'm a quick, fast, and descriptive storyteller. Like, that's just how I give it up and all of that. And that's exactly why after Respectfully Ratchet, I think I might have did like 4 episodes, and then I was like, okay, I can't keep putting the music. I don't want to get my account shut down, so let me start telling my stories. And hence the reason the story to tell came about. So this is probably like the 3rd or 4th show on the network. And also around the time, Ollie D was out with Ollie's Opinions. This was out. Conversation with Friends was out. Talk Therapy with Ebony and Yvonne now, but it was Eb Diaz back then. And Jumpstart with J.U. Jones. Like, that was the start of the network back in the beginning. Oh, and yeah, that happened, which was my Black History show. Man, I might have to come on here and tell that story of that happened, and basically like what happened to that show. Because mind you, that was one of the shows that was one of the most important things to me, because it was like a Black History show. And anybody who knows me knows that like I had to read like a lot of like Black books, Black history books, and all of that when I was a kid. So like, I thought like I would share my little knowledge with a show like that. That's why I ended up creating that. I ended up meeting the guy, and he ended up doing a great job until he didn't. And then the story is just long for a different day, but I have some dramatics I want to talk about that. So maybe I'll write that down for a further episode down the line. And then lastly, y'all, I just want to get into the first 3 episodes of Story to Tell that I've done over time in this 5-year span. Number 3 is actually R.I.P. Willie Esco. For those who don't know, I used to have a Ford Escort, and I named him Willie Esco. And yeah, that was my car in college. And then after I had my first car, my Dodge Omni, like Willie Esco was the second one. He was a hatchback, and I feel like he was blue, like dark blue. But essentially we went to a party and was driving across this little rickety wooden bridge, and in the pouring rain, and somehow we were just like jamming in the car because we were driving to a party, and the car swerved off the road into a ditch. And basically this story is how a simple trip took a turn for the worse, like literally took a turn for the worse, and how I ended up going taking the car back home with a missing back window and mud all over it. So if that sounds like something up your alley, like, let me tell you something. R.I.P. Willie Esco is a great episode for that. And that was also 5 years ago. This one was, this one aired, let's see. I like that Spotify shows you, if you highlight over the amount of time, it shows the actual date. So November 26th. So almost 5 years ago exactly, you know, minus a few days. But this was me just telling my stories. And sometimes I like to go back and listen to the things that I've done so you can kind of gather who you are today. Like, you know, sometimes I feel like as people, especially when you get older, you sit and when other people tell you about yourself, and it just chips away at your block of your confidence sometimes. And it's just like, you know, people tell you that you're changing and stuff like that. And at the end of the day, folks, you're gonna change. And, you know, one of the reasons why I love doing this show, because a lot of times I can go back and listen to an episode and I'll be like, wow, I know exactly where I was. I know exactly how I was feeling. I know exactly whatever of when I recorded that episode. So this is kind of like a little audio journey. Oh, you know, just to try to, you know, tell stories of my life and the things that I've been through. So, like, if someone ever comes up to me and tells me, like, oh, you acting brand new, I'll be like, but nah, bro, go ahead and listen to all 100 episodes of A Story to Tell, and then you can get to know a little bit about me, because I feel like this is a perfect way to do that. So I'm gonna comment those links for the top three, not the top three, the first 3 episodes of A Story to Tell, so you guys can go ahead and listen to that. Once again, thank you guys for rocking with me, catching me, you know, this month, because it's not really only just Podmas and I just want to try to get it out. Like, I think this is just a challenge to my creative self to be like, bruh, you can get that done. Like, you know how to edit, you know how to talk on the fly. So it's just like, you know, I'm just doing what I can while I have the utilities. While I have the availability to do it. And plus, I also want to just be doing the work. Like, you know, I always say I'm ready to move forward. I'm ready for bigger opportunities. But like sometimes, like, because I am the boss of this network, you know, a lot of this stuff doesn't get done because there's no one to be like, excuse me. And ever since I lost the bulk of my shows, like, as you can hear, A Story to Tell is the only one that's still here. Like, you know, I've just been in a weird creative mood to where I didn't want to do anything, but I feel like now I'm coming out of it. Everything that I have going on in my life right now is just a big step to be like, bruh, relax. It's okay. It's okay. Like, and I feel like I needed a humbling experience to kind of like chop me off the block just a bit, because, you know, like, my confidence is high. Like, I'm always a confident person, especially when it comes to my creative ability. But, you know, sometimes when you're not moving at the pace you want to move, and that's when you start to question, you know, if everything you're doing is for the right purpose. So that's just what I'm doing here. And I said I'm going to do one every day up until, let's see if I can make it. So if you or somebody you know has a business and that needs to be advertised in this month of promotion, like, go ahead and holler at me. Like, I'm not gonna beat you over the head, like, but it's just like, let's get the word out there, let's keep it growing and all of that. Like I said, 2023, I still want to come and do some video portions, but, you know, it just depends on what happens in the next couple weeks. Like, we over here grinding and doing everything that we need to do in order to move forward. So that's it. But folks, I'm about to skate up out of here. Thank you again for coming to rock with me as I, you know, talked about my first 3 episodes of A Story to Tell. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you are enjoying this daily podcast thing that I'm doing. You know, you get a little bit of me. I know a lot of you haven't heard from me in a while, and, you know, shout outs to everybody who's been listening for a long time. I really, 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 really appreciate that. And then, you know, for everybody else who's just joined me for the first time, be sure to go subscribe on the YouTube, listen to us on any other podcast apps. I mean, thank you for listening there, but go over to YouTube and listen, because we're growing our community and we want you to be a part of it. So go ahead and become a friend with us by clicking that subscribe button. And for everybody else, Jesus, can't even get my exit phrase right. Be sure to tell your story, because you never know who's listening, because guess what? Everybody has a story to tell. And 5 years ago, I started telling mine. When you going to start telling yours? I'm out.
This is the CWF Network, where we bring you big content in small pieces. Follow us on Instagram at CWFP_. Okay, bye.